Transcending technique is many ways you could do this, but the techniques really aren't that important.
Hey guys, welcome to my commentary on the martial way. I am KShabazz, founder and chief instructor of Black Finish Jeet Kune Do, located here in Atlanta, Georgia. Here we have Guru Dan Inosanto discussing transcending the technique. He goes on to say that the techniques really aren't that important. Now, a lot of students have been confused by this. I've even seen some instructors use the phrase transcending technique a little out of context. So I'm going to play the full clip, and then I'll come back and give you my comments.
Transcending technique is many ways you could do this, but the techniques really aren't that important. What makes a technique, in my opinion, is the timing, the rhythm. Okay, your personal attributes like your agility, your balance, your coordination, dexterity, stamina, strength for that certain time period. The technique has to fit the individual. Technique has to fit motion, both your motion and the opponent that you're flowing with. That's the important part about technique. So attributes, according to Bruce, were probably more important than technique. Developing speed or stamina or strength, those were attributes that you do use in combat. And that's, I think, what he was trying to say there, that you got to transcend the technique, both physically and mentally.
People think we put Bruce Lee high up on a pedestal as if he was supernatural, as if we think he transcended techniques. Bruce Lee was so good, he didn't even use techniques. Many people believe that that is what we think when they hear the phrase transcending technique. But that's not what that means at all. Their misunderstanding of transcending technique is the same as their misunderstanding of Bruce Lee didn't use forms. Here's the deal. Very often, people will ask me, what's the best way to knock somebody out? Or they'll ask me, what's the most efficient way to knock somebody out? Or what's the quickest way to knock somebody out? You see, they are asking me to give them a technique. They are looking for a particular technique that will help them learn how to knock somebody out, right? Now, the answer is a hook or an uppercut to the jaw, preferably when the guy's mouth is open, but I digress. But when I say that, when I give them that answer, I have to immediately follow it up and say, but you have to be able to pull that off. You see, that is what transcending the technique means. You can't simply rely on the technique in and of itself, right? Getting hit by an untrained person is going to be a little bit different than getting hit by a well-trained person. Both of them can throw a hook, but it's the level of development of the individual attributes that is going to make the difference. Learning a technique is not the end-all and be-all. You have to go beyond that, right? You have to, shall I say, transcend that, right? This is why when you're learning JKD, it's assumed that you already know techniques, because JKD is not technique driven. When you understand that basic technique, because JKD is not technique driven, when you understand that basic technique is something that you already should have, when learning JKD, the idea that JKD is more of a philosophy than a set of techniques becomes evident. It becomes obvious, right? Look, an example is if you look at every MMA match or every boxing match or a wrestling match, everybody in these matches, they all know the same techniques. They all know the same stuff, right? Everyone knows what a Kimura is. Everyone knows what a guillotine choke is. Everyone knows what an armbar is. They all know the same techniques. But what makes the difference between all of these fighters? How they execute, right? And how they execute technique, right? And how they execute the technique is governed by their attributes. Look, as Guru Dan said, timing, rhythm, agility, balance, coordination, dexterity, stamina, strength, right? You have to understand that the technique isn't the art, right? People will see a video of me and my students doing a drill and they think that they're watching JKD, right? As opposed to realizing that they're actually watching a training drill, you know? Even my students, I have to constantly remind them the drill is not the art, right? The art is in the application, and the application is all about the philosophy, right? It's more about the how and the why as opposed to the what. What tool do you use, right? The tool is based upon the technique, right? Therefore, the stress must be put on attributes. How do you pull this off? When do you pull this off, right? Do you have the dexterity, coordination, and balance to actually pull off this technique within the framework of JKD? So once you learn the technique, focus on developing your attributes. Use these drills, use our drills to develop and refine your attributes with the goal of transcending the technique, right? Look, that's the clip. Those are my comments. Let's continue to talk about it in the box below. If you want more content like this, look up Black Phoenix Jeet Kune Do on Instagram and on YouTube. Follow me on IG and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. You can also find me on Facebook. And if you visit, make sure you like the page. If you want to train with me in person and you're in the Atlanta area, visit my website, Black Phoenix JKD, for my locations, class times, as well as my price list. If you aren't in the Atlanta area, consider signing up for my online training academy. And just the same, all of those details are on my website, Black Phoenix JKD. Lastly, if you have any questions, concerns, or considerations, you can private message me via any of those social media platforms, but you can also send me an email directly from my website. I want to thank you for tuning in. It's KShabazz for Black Phoenix Jeet Kune Do, and I will see you in class.